Hey guys, we're going to look at the metric system while I'm gone. The metric system is thrown into this chapter of multiplying with decimals and dividing with decimals because it is one of the simpler converting between different units, and this actually is used in the real world all the time because this is how scientists convert between different lengths of measurement. So there are three different types of metric units. So you have length, like meters, kilometers, millimeters. You have capacity, so your liters, like your liter of pop, milliliters, and then you have mass, grams, kilograms, milligrams. Anyway, scientists use the metric system, and actually in the United States we are the only ones who do not always use the metric system. Everywhere outside the United States uses the metric system as their standard basic measurings because it's transferable from place to place no matter where you're going, except for the United States, but that's beside the point. So we have our three different units. That's the only difference between the length, capacity, and mass. Everything else is the same because the conversions are all the same. One thing I like to compare this to is if you're changing a simple money, like $1 into $10, or if you're changing pennies into dollars. If you think of the little units, so you have pennies, and then you have dimes, and then you have dollars, and then you have $10. It takes a specific amount to be equivalent to another amount. For instance, if I have a penny, it's going to take 10 pennies to equal a dime. And what people get confused is that because it says 1, it doesn't mean that it's less. It just means we have a different unit that you're looking at. Here we have pennies, here we have dimes. So they're the same, they're equivalent. It's just you have different units. It takes more pennies to make up dimes. Remember that when you are looking at the metric system. So if you're going from a smaller unit, pennies, to get to a larger unit, dimes, the amount's going to be less because it takes more of the smaller unit to equal the larger unit, or less of the larger unit to equal the smaller unit. Alright, so I like to have you know these in order because then the conversions are super simple. And one way I do that is by having you, in the past I've had them create their own mnemonic device or way of remembering it. So, the one that seems to be the most popular is the King Henry. Bear with me, I'm using my mouse since I don't have a working pen. So I have King Henry, dropped and I'd write this down as I'm taking notes. You should be taking notes. Over, dead, converting metrics. So, if I can remember King Henry dropped over dead converting metrics, I can quickly place my prefixes in front. So, my prefixes then are maybe this will help so I don't have to change my ink every time. Kilo, hecto, deca. This stands for units, so we'll get through that. We'll talk about that in a minute. Deci, centi, and milli. All right. Our different units, like I said, we have 3 different units. We have length, we have capacity, and we have mass. So for length, we have meter. Oh, that's capacity, we have liter. And mass, we have grams. And so then for your prefixes, they would just go in front of those. So we have, for meter, we have kilometer, hectometer, decameter, decimeter, centimeter, millimeter. So you have all of these plus the meter. And then each of these would then have abbreviations. So if you're going through and looking at each of these, we could very well go through and write, so here we'd have kilometers. Or km. Then hectometer, which is hm. Decameters, which is capital D, M. And then we'd have meters, which is just an M. Then lowercase d, M, lowercase c, M, then M, M, etc. So then for L, it's actually a capital L. So KL, HL, DL, D, capital DL, DL, CL, ML, and then gram. And I just realized there's an extra L. Alright, now, like I said, it's simple. It's just as simple as converting between dimes and pennies as it is from pennies to dollars or pennies to $10 and etc. It's just the same thing for metric system because it's going to take a certain amount of millimeters to equal a meter.